We are back. Scrim, we are back. Media Markus and Scrim, the Can We Rewatch podcast. We are here rewatching the challenge. Season 20, episodes 5 and 6. Cutthroat season as we get prepared for a new season of Cutthroat coming out on August 5th, Paramount Plus. So we're just reviewing everything that came before then. And I mean, Scrim, I've been very vocal about the fact that I have not loved this season so far. Especially like I talked about the casting, not so many big names, at least at this point in their careers in this season. But I'm coming around these two episodes. Like you said, these were two good episodes. Season 20 of the challenge, episodes 5 and 6. And let's start off with episode 5. Let's get right into it. And it's, a lot of drunken behavior back in these times in the challenge. And we see it continue to come out every episode. It makes for good TV. And we got the brothers. The brothers are getting into it at the start of this episode. Ty versus Brandon. And Ty continues to get into it with, it seems like, everyone at this point, as we will continue to see in these two episodes. Who are you rooting for in this instance? Did you think Ty would jump off the hook and maybe throw a swing? Because he's a little
Oh yeah,
crazy.
absolutely. I was 100% on Brandon's side. Obviously, I think he was just really, really belligerent, and I think that I don't know if he wanted TV time. Like the way he went about it and the way he was antagonizing Brandon unprovoked. How disrespectful he was, and then like this, hey, you want to box, you want to wrestle, you want like you have every single opportunity to perform in athletic challenges every single week, right? And you don't. And now you want to get a little bit of liquor in your system, and now you want to challenge one of the smallest people in the house to a wrestling match and things like that. And just the way that he's insensitive in his comments and things of that nature, just wasn't a fan of it. He even told himself he does it on purpose. He likes to mess with people. He's not a team player, and it's just like you're in the wrong place. Like, just not you're in the wrong place. You don't want to perform athletically when we need you to do so. But it was definitely entertaining just watching them go at it in the beginning, and I'm glad Brandon didn't take the bait. Because there's a lot of people that would have took the bait. To be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, me watching it was just ridiculousness from all angles. Obviously, those are two MTV shows, The Challenge, ridiculousness. But Brandon. I mean, just Ty at this point, right? We all know who Ty is at this point. We're halfway through the season, and it's just like I'm not even going there with him. Like I'm not playing no games, and the games that they were playing were a little weird. I mean, they were talking about like
Very weird.
relationship. It was very
Very
weird.
weird.
So it kind of threw me off. Like Brandon, why are you having this conversation or even like volunteering that like for a bet? Like it was just really ridiculous. So and then Ty going off the hook, like you said, maybe trying to get some extra TV time. It's Johnny Bananas. Maybe he was asleep at this point. But I just like I'm like why are we in this at all, bro? Like can we
Mhm.
not just have a drink, talk to the ladies or whatever. But I guess not. Like that's not the vibe. It is the challenge. Might have been late at night. Might have been only 3 or 4 people up. These are the 3 or 4, and now we're all getting into it. But
I will say
I,
Brandon might have opened that door. I will say,
yeah,
like, I totally forgot about how wild that was. And I just think, like, naturally, P, if I told you, let's shoot threes and the loser got to do X, Y, and Z, you'd be like,
yeah,
hey, slow your roll, right?
exactly. Like
And I
I wouldn't.
think
I
this
don't play
balance is
like that.
right. 100%. And I feel like if Brandon is, you want to be, I understand, like, you want to be cordial and like, there's certain lines that we can't cross and you need to set your boundaries and your line in the sand. And I think you let it get to that point for him. You lose the bet, and now he like, yeah, and you wow, and they're like, you tripping, you good, you cool,
Yeah.
and he's like, nah, I'm not gay. I'm the one catching it. I'm just like, whoa, now we're in a whole nother conversation. It's just like I had totally forgot that he tried to get Brandon to just pay up on that bet, which is insane.
Yeah, yeah. That's why I don't play those games. Like I don't play a lot of games, and it's like different people act different ways. I'm not. Those are
Hmm.
those are things that don't even enter my mind or even. But I mean, obviously these guys were younger and in their early 20s. But I mean, just a ridiculous conversation. Even for me, I didn't have that convo in my early 20s. It's not
Not
something
not a
that's funny
chance.
to me at all. So I didn't like it. I have no, in the rate, if they both would have punched each other at the same time and got eliminated, it would have been
Yeah.
all good with me. just ridiculous. So
Yeah, definitely ridiculous.
yeah,
But
but Brandon, we keep calling you out, bro. We gonna need you to pull up, man. You gotta talk about
no, for
that
sure.
too,
We
because
I got questions that need
yeah,
answers.
that is crazy. So
Brandon, you see, I have so many questions. Then we get to the next episode. I'm like, oh, we got to talk. We got to chat.
yeah,
We need to have a one on one. Because they was disrespecting you on this season. We're gonna get into
yeah.
that in a bit.
You know what's funny? We talked about his elimination record, Brandon,
We
previously, and we
did,
we said what it was, which is what 3-4, and we saw him win his first three eliminations, and now I think
and we
some of the
talked about that
tides
too.
are
Yeah,
obviously about to turn. So, but yeah, shout out to Brandon. We need him
for
to pull
sure,
up. But let's get into the blue team as they're very low. They only have Bananas and Derek left as the only
hmm
men on their team. While these are two extremely strong competitors, the two guys maybe you want to have at the the front of your team, at least at this point in the challenge, they don't have too much to work with. I mean, what did you think about them two sort of working together and saying that it's all on us at this point, and how they're trying to continue to champion the way that they do?
yeah. And I think I mean not Brandon, but Johnny kind of said it well in episode 6 when he says, "Hey, Ty was kind of our scapegoat." So we wouldn't have to go into elimination because it seemed like they was banking on that, and it makes it more it makes more sense to me because John is very, very forward thinking. I thought that he naturally just wanted Ty to do well so that way they can get easy off their team. But he really was laying the groundwork like, hey, let me just keep pepping him up because he's going to be my shield. He's going to be my scapegoat. And if he's continued to win, if we keep him motivated, it's going to help my game and Derek's game in the long run. But I mean, if there was only two people, especially when we think about this cast, if I was only going to be down to two people, you can do much worse than Johnny and Derek. Like that's a tough duo. And if we was to rank top three duos right now, this if we just picking guys, we would definitely say they're top three.
Yeah, yeah,
So
absolutely.
they'll be all right.
And I think it's pretty good for the plot as well, right? Like you
Mm-hmm.
got Derek and Bananas leading a team, trying to coach Ty up, and if you're a first time viewer of this, you're like, they're gonna these are champions. They're gonna help him get it together. They're all gonna take it and get to the final together. So that hope is still there. But obviously, we'll get into more of Ty throughout this. But I did love the sort of the camaraderie between Derek and Bananas, especially at this point in their careers, where Derek is sort of the OG, but he sort of relied on Bananas the last few seasons to sort of run it, and he'll play his part and be competitive. And he doesn't really want to play too many politics. But Bananas always got Derek, and Derek always got Bananas. That is never a question, and I feel like it's a little bit unspoken about as far as when we talk about the challenge history. But I did love the plot there for those two. And the next note that I have is just Ty is bad. Ty is bad. We get into the actual challenge and we see that these teams are jumping on a platform together and sort of have to stay up together. And I'll get into the red team because they were god awful in this. But the blue team had a very good recipe. They showed that, and this is where the veterans and Derek and Bananas come through, where they have a very good recipe. They're all keeping each other up, platform by platform, and doing very well until we get to Ty. I mean, what did you think about this challenge?
I mean, like I said, it's just in every single episode. I think he's going to prove me wrong, and I think he's going to at least perform once on one of these daily challenges, and maybe like he's almost like Tony. Like you think that he has the athletic prototype, but every single daily challenge, especially the ones we think is going to be suitable to his just his strengths
Yeah,
and abilities, he does terrible. And so
yeah,
for him to be able to not even get past, I want to say the first one,
yeah.
which
And
is
my
just
bad.
insane.
Let
It's
me
insane.
correct myself. This challenge was the one with the surfboard where they had to jump on together with a partner and then dive into the water and swim. But
Yes,
yeah, yes, Ty. I mean,
yes,
Derek
that's
had to
exactly
go
what it was.
twice, and Derek went with Ty. Derek after already going, Derek went with Ty, and Ty was the only one that failed on this team, and they that I feel like that cost them the win.
Yeah, because they I mean they don't have that many people, right?
Hmm.
So, but I think you don't have to go once. Derek has to go twice. Everyone's been doing so well for like that's that lack of balance. Like I just don't understand why he's so bad at all these different challenges. And I thought this particular challenge was really I wouldn't say it's easy because it definitely took balance and you're definitely doing some swimming, but he just did horrible. He did horrible, and it's just on par for his performance so far in this particular season. It's disappointing, honestly.
Yeah, I would call his performing at this point, Ty, especially in this challenge. It came to me as like someone that you know me, I'm always a strategic guy. And I think of some of the better coaches, right? The better coaches that really amplify their players and bring them to, being, champions, right? And I think that like the game plan was set. The game plan was set. The blue team had it. Everybody was doing well. You jump on together. You don't lock arms. You lock hands, and then you balance yourself, and then you dump in that water. And you can relate it to someone being on a team where this is our scheme, but the player is just playing outside the scheme because that's all they
Hmm.
know. They don't know how to like play within the scheme, and it's just like what Bill Belichick always said: do your job. Like you don't have to like bite on the pump fake if like your area is just like a zone. Like you just need to stay in that zone. So little things like that, and I think Ty it was a great example of that because when he jumped onto this surfboard, you're supposed to lock hands and try to like grab each other's
Hmm.
hands or wrists. But when you see, and the red team did this a lot, they tried to touch each other's arms, and that's how
Which
you're gonna fall
broke a
off. It's too
balance.
much. It's too much balance and being dissuade. So Ty did that, and it was horrible for his team because everyone else performed so well, and I just felt. And Derek, after going twice, was beating Ty in the swim, was pretty much smoking him,
Yeah.
had to like bring him on. So very bad performance by Ty, and he's holding the blue team down at this point.
Yeah, and yeah, it's definitely a detriment. It's more of a he's just it's a negative more than positive. But I will say this: Derek has definitely been stepping up. But I
Yeah.
also think like something I've been noticing about Johnny. Johnny keeps deferring. He's always going to cover himself first. And one of the trends we keep noticing is Derek keeps stepping up. To if there's anything additional they need to do, whether they just need a in this particular challenge we need an additional person, Derek stepped up, right? And I think John is an amazing swimmer. And also, not to say that Ty would have did any better, but sometimes when you have someone at similar heights, it's a little bit easier to balance something, especially on like a surfboard. So I think it'd be a great opportunity for Johnny to maybe go twice, and maybe he might have made it a little bit easier for Ty to balance, right? Um,
Good point.
and so I just think that when we keep seeing Derek, and I love that he has, you know what I'm saying, the confidence in himself, but Johnny just more so keeps playing it safe. And I think this is in a situation when you need to be the superstar you are for your team to be successful. So that's just something I noticed. And I personally was like, hey, I don't like it. And I get it's like self preservation, but at the same time, like sometimes you need your superstar to come up in clutch moments, right? You talked about a team and things like that. And he too easily defers, and just lives with the results.
So you're saying bananas is more the LeBron, right? And you got the CTs and Jordan to a more like Jordan, right? I love that
You feel
comparison.
me?
But no, you're totally right because I didn't think about that aspect. Derek is always willing. He always has that confidence that he can go out there and perform in any of these challenges. This is what he do. This is what he does. He's done this for years. He's won multiple championships, etc. And but Johnny is the one with the strategy and the politics. And politics aside here, right? This is just a challenge. You need to coach him up every step of the way, Ty. And Derek is not a coach. Derek is someone who just
No.
performs and he's going to do his best. But you're the guy with the strategy. You need to coach him up top. This is what we're doing right now in this moment. You need to grab my hands rather than my arms. And I don't think Derek is thoughtful enough to think of that moment to have with Ty. It's just like everybody else went. You paid attention, I'm sure, and let's do this. And those are the little things. You're totally right. I mean that bananas could definitely help and step up here and not defer. So I do like that point, man. Kudos to you, bro. Fire emoji there because I'm like, oh, that's a really good point. Also in that challenge, well, let's talk about the red team quickly. I mean, they all none of them completely got onto the board. They all fell and had a long swim. But what did you think about their performance as a team?
They did pretty bad. But I think it surprises me honestly. Like when I look at the red team, they have so many vets on their team that every single time I just expect them to do really really well,
Yeah.
right? And I think that for them, I mean, I just think from a strategy perspective, they have you got Brad that was trying to just talk them through, but this. I just didn't like the strategy, and then like, it could just compound as each individual person. You have the most people, right? They had the most people,
Yeah.
so I think they had the biggest opportunity to be successful. And maybe their confidence, the win streaks they've been having, and the maybe it's going to their head a little bit. But it definitely sometimes we have too many chefs in the kitchen. We can't get all aligned on the right strategy. It was definitely to their detriment on this particular challenge.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts when you looked
I
at it?
mean, and as good as the red team is, these are my thoughts. As good as the red team is or has performed in certain challenges, you also know that they're flawed and they're not that good, right?
Hmm.
They're not like, oh, we're so scared of the red team. That's not anybody's vibe. It's more so like, okay, once we knock, because the people that are going in are winning eliminations for them, so they haven't lost anybody yet, but no one's afraid of them. Like, and this is just a great example. There were no adjustments. Everybody's just like thinking with a rock in their brain. Like nobody made the adjustment. Hey, I'm not going to grab anybody's arms here. We're going to do something different. Maybe you pull me from my shirt. Maybe you pull me from my hands. Ain't like anything. There were literally no adjustments made, and I hate to see that in any capacity in any profession. I really do hate to see that. But another thing
That's a
is,
good point.
yeah, and another thing is just like maybe they just like you said, too many chefs in the kitchen. They had too many people on this team, and I mean, a lot of people and a lot of veterans as well. But what I did want to make the point is they performed pretty well swimming. I mean, they had their
For
times were literally
sure.
all under like 3 minutes swimming. I'm just like, wow, these are really good swimmers. Like everybody fell off early, and they all got around 3 minutes. While we saw, the Ty and Derek went for like 4 minutes and 28 seconds.
Exactly.
So I was like, yo, even though they did bad at the beginning of the performance, everyone was a great swimmer, and I don't think I think it one. I think Tyler and whoever he went with, they got 2 minutes or something.
Yeah, and Tyler's a great swimmer. He's always been a great swimmer.
Yeah,
But I think you make an excellent point, and I think it's one of those things like if I had to compare it to something, it's like someone that's like talented, so they're not practicing, or they're
yeah,
not putting they just relying too much on their natural ability, and that's essentially they just feel like they can wing it, and because they feel like their team's a lot better than other teams, they think they just go out there, and be successful. But their team's not that good. Like we've seen some good teams over the years. Their team's not that good. They have a lot of above average players, but I wouldn't say it's a bunch of elite players by any stretch of the imagination. And I also don't think they have a bunch of elite people. I really think Brad's pretty good, but they don't have elite players.
right.
Dunbar pretty good, but like just for them just to think they can just show up and perform, and not put too much thought into it is as naive. And you can definitely see in this particular challenge how it just didn't work out for them, no matter how great of swimmers they are. And I
Yeah,
would,
no,
like you said, you had the best swimmers out of everybody else.
yeah. So if you guys actually did the performance well and made some adjustments, even if you get the first two people that fall off, you guys would have smoked this challenge. So you would have won
Easy.
another one, third three in a row. But that didn't happen. I want to talk just briefly about the great team because did you see Sarah smoking Laurel in the swim?
I
Because I
did see
certainly
Sarah
did.
smoking Laurel.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
Uh huh.
And Sarah's been performing too. And you,
Yes.
you told me, I mean, you made an interesting point last episode when you kind of talked about, um, when you lose a couple times in the past, like you're really, really motivated. You're not really trying to risk anything to be successful. And she's an all around athlete. She's consistent. She's passionate, right? She definitely
Yeah.
wants to win. And definitely smoking Laura. And you would think Laura, especially with her body type, there's long strokes that should be able to, swim a little bit faster and things of that nature. But no, just shout out to Sarah. But we also seen Chet take a tumble. What was your thoughts
Yeah.
of just watching him take his initial tumble immediately after
Well,
jumping on the
well,
board?
well. Let me briefly finish on Laurel.
Okay.
Just once again, I continue to point
Oh, you
out in
keep
this
talking about Laurel.
season the fact that she's not where she needs to be. She's doing all these other distractions, the drinking, the yelling at people, the want to wrestle people, all of that. But when it's time to perform, she's either getting eliminated or disqualified, like she did on the last challenge. Things like this, where Sarah, you're way behind Sarah, and you're causing your team seconds and minutes, and it's just like Laurel, lock in, please. But I've said that for so many seasons, and that's once again why she's only won one flagship. But briefly, just talking about Chat, just his luck. I mean, Chat. When I think of Chat, I think of just some guy. It's just like Rich probably has a lot of bad shit luck. I mean, like he has some good luck too, right? I've been, famous, got on this TV show from Utah,
Hmm.
all of those things, like Mormon life, gotcha. But it's also like I can see him getting played by the girl next door, and heartbroken, and why is it happening again? Why is this happening to me? Vibes. But I mean, this definitely was a bad tumble in that water, and like you said, these are really steep falls in the water. So he seemed concussed to me. He turned pale as fuck, bro.
Yeah, yeah, and just if you ever had a concussion, you know how scary it can be. But let's talk through it. He got the concussion. He took the 40-foot fall, 30-foot fall, and still finished. Still continued to swim, right?
Mm.
And I think he should get credit for that. Because I think, like, especially when you in hindsight knowing that he was concussed, that takes a lot of guts. Because we've seen so many people just take a fall and they just lay there in the water, right? But he just made sure he put his team over just his personal feelings at the time or even his personal health. So I just think just shout out to the performance and just overcoming adversity. I thought it was pretty cool to watch.
Yeah, no doubt. Shout out to Chef for that one because that is beastly. I mean, a lot of people will just be like, "Oh, help, EMT," and he shook it off, and he ended up doing what he needed to do to get to that finish line, and that's when we talk about the red team. Like they had tremendous swimmers. Like they should have won that challenge if we're just being truthful. Let's get it. I mean, obviously deliberation. We ended up seeing. Ty get voted in again. Not Ty, but Brandon rather get voted in
Hmm.
again this time versus Ty.
Hmm.
And this elimination at this point, you think it's going to be a good elimination or maybe not because we don't believe in Ty.
We don't believe in Ty. Um, I do, to be honest with you, I will say once I saw the type of elimination it was, I was like, dang, Brandon's finally going home. It sucks, right? Because I really
Yeah.
wanted to see Ty lose. And I was like, just seeing, I'm like, okay, so it's almost like pole Russell, not pole Russell. It's like what's the little on the horses in medieval times when they be jockeying at each other.
I don't know.
I don't know, but it seems like a strength thing. They have a pole, they have to push each other. Naturally, Ty has not only maybe 4 or 5 inches on Brandon, but he also has probably 20, 30 pounds on him as well.
Yeah.
So it just going into the elimination, I wasn't really excited for Brandon at all. As you watched it, what was your thoughts?
As we watched it, I mean, I thought the same thing. Like, oh, this is bad for Brandon. Like, it's time to get him up out of there. I mean, Ty dominated that first round. It looked like he put all his mic in. He said, I'm going to win this elimination. This is his time to step up and really show who he is as a competitor. And he
Hmm.
shows that in that first round. And you're like, oh, and he only needs what, one more of those to win?
One more.
And what
He's up
happens
one up.
after that, Scrim? What happens to this guy?
Bro, he gasses out. And I mean, be honest with you, I'm not going to no cut cards. One of the top three most embarrassing elimination losses I've seen. Like the fact that he was up one, they had chains and ropes. He got tossed over the chains or the ropes like it's the WWE, and he's just stretched out. And as his team tell him to get up, he cannot get up. He can't catch his breath, and he gets counted out. Not only did he get counted out to lose the second round, he got counted out again to lose the whole thing, which is just truly embarrassing. And then got the nerve to say, "Yeah, I just need to get one more." Like, bro, I don't even want to see you in your confessionals anymore. Like, this is so embarrassing. You had the advantage, and then for you, like I said, aesthetically, he looks like he works out. He looks like he's fit. And then at every single corner, he shows you why he's not a good competitor, and this is crazy to watch.
Yeah, very insane behavior by Ty. I mean, just to go out like that. I mean, at one point you would think someone like jumps up or at least turns over and says, I'm about to get up. This guy he just got. I
Pure
mean, it's
effort.
when I say gassed out, it's like we've gassed out. I've gassed out on the basketball court, right? You just move slow and the game about to be over, right? It just is what it
Yeah.
is. But to just literally to like stop yourself, EMT has to come over. You're saying you can't move, you can't get up. I mean, what? I just feel like there's something. maybe he was drinking all night. Maybe something like that had to
Maybe.
be. And I can't leave that off the table for Ty. But I mean, that was just a ridiculous way to go out, and a very sad. We do see him eventually come back, though. He comes back for Rivals One with Brandon. But I mean, I had forgot about this, man. This might be the worst for me. I mean, you say top three. I'm
I was saying
thinking
it was terrible. It
this
was
was.
absolutely terrible. Like I just knew he was gonna pull an Undertaker for a second and sit up and be ready to go. And like this it's embarrassing. It was embarrassing to watch. But shout out to Brandon. And then my biggest thing about it was only endurance that tired him out. The first round wasn't that long.
Right.
So it's
Yeah.
like, that's what, like, I don't understand it. Like I don't want to say he gave up, he quit, he threw the challenge. I'm not even gonna go that far. I'm just saying, like, that was bad, and it's I can't justify it in any way, any fashion.
Yeah, Ty, you are insane for that. I just don't know. I don't know how that works to just go out like that. That sad, that bad, that ridiculous, and just yeah. I mean, not a good competitor though. I think it was a great sort of finale for his season in totality. I mean, it was just bad. It was
Hmm.
it was promise and not delivering, and that's exactly what that was in that elimination. So a very fitting way to go out. Next, we got in the other elimination, we got Camilla versus Katie,
80.
and Camilla is coming into her own. Right, this is her another elimination for her. And what does she do? She goes down and wins, and she wins with her team saying, listen, the next time if you come back, the next time we're going to not vote you in. You got my word. And she's sort of coming around. And, what do you think about Camilla in this performance and this elimination and where she could be possibly going with her team at the end of this episode?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a great place to be, especially for you to go down there multiple times and be able to be successful.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I just think it's interesting because Camilla's a small girl, right? And because she does so well in these challenges, you might be surprised. But when she was even going against Katie, Katie was like, I was so shocked at how strong she was
Yeah.
when she pushed the pole back into her. And it's just like every single opportunity, especially with these being the beginning of Camilla's career, and it's also her maturation process through this particular season. Just thoroughly impressed through her grit, just being able to overcome, and also just not taking it too personal, right? Especially because she got to sit down there multiple times at this point. And we haven't seen her blow up just at the idea of going in there, and she just goes in there, channels that anger, and she's just been successful. So just kudos to her. And she did really, really well. Now, we'll say you did say you didn't think Katie was gonna be successful at all. So you didn't give her a shot. So I do get that. I don't know why I might have like thought Katie might have, maybe some weight. I don't know. I gave Katie a chance. Like there was definitely a good 15% chance as I watched. And then as I seen Camilla push her in the beginning, I said, yeah, that was a bad bet. Place.
Yeah, I mean, when Katie said that, it also caught my attention, and just thinking of the history of Camilla and about how she's won multiple challenges, championships. It just speaks to her like some people are just made like that, right? People that you
Hmm.
don't really, you can't, you don't really see as being like super strong and gritty and stuff. But we've seen Camilla be extremely gritty and it's extremely strong, whether it's on the field or off the field, like sticking up for herself or going too hard at people. And I think all of that is sort of in her package, right? Probably, possibly a reason why she's banned. It's similar to CT, right? Like CT did all these great, and the CT is obviously different, right? His size is
Hmm.
OC, but CT always had that dog in him, always is barking, always ready to go at whoever. Production didn't matter, and those things are similar. But no, Camilla is impressive. I think honestly, this is one of the greater rookie seasons that we've seen. And if she was on another team, or if she had picked a better team, I think
Yeah.
that she could have possibly gotten way further in the game than she did. So I think Camilla is at a great point at this point at the end of episode 5, going into 6, because her team is starting to realize, hey, this is someone who's strong and has endurance and can show up on challenges and helps us win challenges and eliminations. And they're promising her things now, like so. I think she's in a really good point with her team going forward, but. that turns in episode 6. So let's get into episode 6 now,
Before we
right?
get to six,
Okay.
question of the day: Camilla or Laurel, career wise?
Camilla.
Dang, that was quick.
Bro, I already told you Camilla has won 2 championships, including Dirty 30, which was the $450,000 reward, right? And
Hmm.
she also is 9-4 in eliminations, right? And I think Laurel is,
Hmm.
only I think Laurel's like 11-2. But one of those eliminations she lost, Laurel did, was to Camilla. So I gotta take Camilla. I mean, it is what it is. Like that's pretty simple and plain for me. And then I also talked about Camilla as we continue this podcast, the Can We Rewatch podcast, season 20 of the challenge.
Hmm.
I talk about Laurel constantly throughout these, just saying that she's not focused, she's not in the game, not the way Camilla is, because it seems like Camilla doesn't have too much to go back home to, right? Like that's the way she's playing. That is the way she's playing. While Laurel is, this is not her first challenge. This is about her second, third rodeo,
Hmm.
and comfortable with the drinking and partying. And she's still young, I get it, but as far as being locked in, through these challenges, I gotta give it to Camilla because even relationships and stuff don't bother her. While I even seen Laurel and All Stars go through it with Nicole and not be focused once again. But it's just like, yeah, I definitely gotta take Camilla.
I think that's a great point. I think the biggest point that I love that you kind of articulated specifically is just her consistency and her ability to separate the drama of being in the house with her performance.
Right.
Because hypothetically speaking, if you just only looked at the daily challenges and you only looked at eliminations, you didn't watch the fluff, you probably like, hey, Camilla's just amazing, and you don't see any flaw in her game. And even when her teams, and we've seen multiple times with even people that was on her alliance or on her team, they was questioning whether she was communicating with certain people from the opposite side or she's intimate with this person, that person. She still doesn't let her affect her actual performance, whether it's in a daily challenge or an elimination. So I thought that was an amazing point that you made. And then personally, I think she's just way better at puzzles than Laurel. And I think that's
Okay.
a I think that's the biggest equalizer when you think about you have the people that's are super strategic, your CTs and your Johnnies and your Wes's, this is really, really amazing at politics. But I think like we've seen so many people fall victim to puzzles, whether it's in the final, whether it's in different eliminations, to the point where you have to be at least decent at puzzles. We've seen Kama Red early in her career wasn't good at puzzles to the point where she was practicing puzzles her whole in between every single season trying to get better. And obviously, she's practicing her swimming as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love that choice, and I think I'm definitely taking her over. My Mount Rushmore that we talked about in the beginning is
Yeah.
interchanging now that we talked through this.
I love to hear that. But yeah, I think Camilla might be on that Mount Rushmore for sure. We can talk about that later though. I think that's a good
Hmm.
conversation to have. All right, let's get into episode 6, and we see we see the red team. They're saying they need a morale boosted. They're waiting for Chet to come back, and we see him come back. I love the fact that he talked about the hospitals there because that
I
was
thought that was crazy, but I'm not surprised. And we're talking about how long ago this was. It was
yeah,
probably really like a third world country hospital.
absolutely. Like, I have
It was
no
like
doubt about it.
insane.
No doubt about no doubt about it, bro. But no, we see him talk about the hospital and just going through it there. And I mean, I'm just gonna cut the fat here. I mean, we eventually see
Mhm.
TJ come in and talk to Chat 1-on-1. I think it's the last time we saw that 1-on-1 when having to deliver this news. But he has to tell Chat that you're no longer qualified for the game, so Chat has to go home. Now he would say that amongst the entire group. TJ will, but you feel bad for Chat here?
I do. I do feel bad for Chad, especially because when he came back, his little enthusiasm and kind of like brightened up the mood just a tad bit.
Mm-hmm.
There's definitely excited to get him back. Now, obviously, the red team they haven't lost any guys, so they want to keep as many people as possible. He seemed like he was really, really excited to get back. I had a moment when he said, "Hey, they don't want me to compete right away," and I was like, I don't know if it works that way, sir.
Yeah.
I don't think you can just get to sit out a challenge. So it was that moment, and then when moments later, TJ pulled up. I was like, "Yeah, that confirms it because you can't." Oh, I'm that's need a day or two. It doesn't
Right.
work. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
So definitely disappointed. But was he gonna win? No. So you know
Yeah,
me.
that's
I'm
kind of where I was getting at. I mean, Yeah, I don't think TJ was pulling up for another fly swatter challenge like that. That wasn't happening in this scene. But
Hmm.
no, I mean, I do kind of feel bad for Chet. Just like I said, shit luck. What can you do? But I also think that for the red team, this is sort of detrimental, right? They have 9 players, while I think the gray team has 6, blue team has 5. So you
Hmm.
really have like so many shields for the Brads, Torreys, Paula, and Dunbar
Dunbar.
and Tyler. Those are the top 5. So everybody else after that, though, is really just at the bottom of the shelf. And I think Chet was soon to realize that, even though he's trying to prove himself by throwing in Mandy, who he was flirting with, like that's some type of big boss move. Jen is laughing at you because Jen could do that in her sleep, bro. Don't even gotta lie about it. So,
Hmm.
nah, I mean, I think that like you said, he wasn't going to win because he was at the very bottom of this totem pole. And I can tell
Hmm.
you this: if there were 8 people left with that red team, they're not trying to take 8 people to that final. They're trying to
Oh,
split it
you know,
5 ways, 4 to 5
and
ways.
I get that
So,
too. I get
yeah,
that
no,
too for
no
sure.
doubt. So, Chet, it was an all right season for you. It wasn't too memorable.
Yeah, not a bad season, but I think like one of the last things he said before he caught that taxi ride up out of there was it
Taxi was
sucks.
funny. Yeah, the
It
taxi
seems
was
like
funny.
it sucks that I'm on the winning team. Like I feel like I'm on the team that I think is going to win, and that's what makes it hurt that much more. And I think that's an interesting take for sure. That makes it just it hurt sting just a little bit, but like I said, I don't. He'd be okay.
Yeah, I think if you think it from that aspect, it's a really optimistic aspect of thinking about. I would think about that I'm on this team with 5 people that are really close, and the 4 after us are sort of another team within the team. And but once again, I'm a strategy person, and that's kind of and I've been binging Big Brother all day, so I'm definitely thinking a little 3 steps ahead.
I
So,
love that. But I think that's a
yeah.
great point because just to piggyback on that, we're 6 episodes in, so we're halfway through. We
Mhm.
haven't seen any of the people realize that they're not at the top of the totem pole and start working together. We
Yeah.
still have people doing these anonymous votes, except for we know that the top 3 or 4, they're telling people, like, we're going to do XYZ, we're going to do XYZ.
Yeah.
And then the people that's just falling in line, and people that know that they're the lowest on the totem pole, they're not getting together. They're not
Right.
even attempting to say, "Hey, we need to do something before numbers get." And I understand that we're on the same team, so you don't want to stir the pot. But
This.
if you don't get ahead of the ball, it's gonna be too late.
Yeah.
And I love that you brought that up because I haven't seen one team. There's some teams that's at 5 that it is what it
It
is.
is.
But like at 9, we need to
Yeah.
consider like, hey, all right, who really gonna have my back? Who's really
Yeah.
voting me and voting me in? Who, like So I just thought that was a
No.
great point that you made.
Listen, I agree, and we talked about in a previous episode the fact that Brad was upset that Camilla was talking to Bananas, and I think like if at this point when there's 9 people left on our team, we know the top 5, those veterans that all want to win have never won. I think Tori might have won before this, but
Hmm. Probably a group one for sure.
yeah, so no, definitely a group one. But you're thinking, hey, or I would think like we're us 4. We can make some things happen. Maybe there's a throwaway vote from one aspect, right? Brad doesn't think he's going to get a vote, and someone, like, all of those little
That's
things,
all it would have took.
and then you can also work with a Johnny Bananas or whatever team. Like I can't think of from this standpoint, but maybe to go against their friend on another team. I just don't really know. I don't think teams really affected that much, opposite teams. But as far as just like that 4, you can make something happen, bro. A stalemate, anything happen, and be like, hey, we got to change the cards here because at the end of the day, Camilla, Brandon, they keep going in, right? And then
Exactly.
you got Chet, bro. If Brandon goes home, Chet, who you think is next?
You. I
It's
think
you,
that's a great
bro.
point.
So
It's a great
but
point.
like I said, these guys are just riding high of the challenge. We do love a show check, so we talk about the game checks. So maybe he was just thinking from that standpoint. But hey, bro, you gotta think a few steps ahead. So, but Chet, we did see him go home and sayonara, bro. Hope safe flight and all that.
Yeah, good point. And like I said, they could definitely could have debate and switch too. They could have like got a couple people say, "Hey, we're all gonna vote this person," and then meanwhile, all 4 of them band together and vote one person, and boom, surprise attack. Hopefully, that person goes home, and now we at 8-8-4-4. And now we need to talk. Yeah, now
Yeah,
y'all need to incorporate all of us in these conversations.
right.
You know, And this is a missed opportunity. And I think the problem is the more that they delay that conversation, that numbers is going to keep shifting in their against their favor.
Right.
And then when it's 6-3 or when it's like it's 5-2, like it's gonna be rough.
It's over.
It's gonna be rough.
And I mean, so let's get into the challenge. This is the ring challenge. You just watched this. You're fresh off the
Mhm.
episode, so I'll let you get into it a little bit more than I probably could.
Let's talk about it. I thought this challenge was really, really difficult, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I want to start with the first team that went was the red team, and their strategy is absolutely horrible. But let's get into what the game is, right? So the game, you got these little rings, right, suspended above 40 feet again.
Yeah.
Like this season, these heights have been insane. This if you're afraid of heights, this is not the season to be on because
Right.
I feel like at least three out the last four, it's been extreme heights. So you had to climb on these rings. I think it's like six rings. Let's say it's six rings, and each person has to be on at least one ring. And then they're essentially playing basketball at the end. One person has to get to the end, and they're going to be the designated shooter. And then you have to have one person on your team to be on each ring, right? And we saw the red team go first. Obviously, because the gray team won the previous challenge, they got to choose who would go first, and obviously they chose the red team. I think it was a great choice.
Yeah.
Really didn't like how obviously there's gonna be one designated shooter, and originally it was like okay, look, there was no strategy talked about it, and then Tyler, let me go ahead and throw Brandon under the bus. I'm like, I think Brandon should be the shooter. And it's interesting and it's weird, specifically, especially because he's the lowest on the total poem. You don't think he's the strongest competitor on your team. Outside of maybe cultural preferences that he might be a little more interested in basketball than everyone else. I
Mm-hmm.
don't see I don't see why strategically it made sense for him to be the person that designated shooter. Only because ideally you want tall people to be able to get to those rings, and what we ended up seeing was Brandon, he couldn't get to the end. His team didn't give him a strategy. And so now he's shooting two rings away. And so now he's hitting the top of the awning. And ultimately they didn't get they got zero
Yeah.
balls,
Yeah.
0 points, and it's truly disappointing. But I thought it was a whole team effort. I think everyone had a hand in that failure. And it just started off with them choosing Brandon. And I understand I felt bad for Brandon because he's like, I'm damned if I do, I'm damned if I don't. If I do wonderful, we win. Okay, maybe I'll be saved. But if I do horrible, they're gonna use me as a scapegoat. And we're gonna see. And that was his sentiments before the challenge happened. But ultimately he got 0 points. And he didn't do well at all.
Yeah, I mean, the notes that I do have is red team strategy to have Brandon go first. If from my standpoint, like it looks like a little bit of a sabotage, right? Like we won
Hmm.
a couple challenges in a row. We banked our team money. We can't take nine people home to well at this point it's eight, right? But maybe we are halfway through the season. The final is coming up. Let's let Brandon go first. If he proves himself, we win again, right? We bank more. But if not, he's going in. So I mean, I'm not saying they did that intentionally, but it's just certainly not a good strategy. I didn't understand it at all to have Brandon go first. What sense does that make at all? It makes no sense. It makes none because you guys are not high on him competing. You guys are sort of, and from Brandon's standpoint, I thought, bro, you gotta speak up in this moment. Why am I going first? What's the strategy here? Like, you just guys are gonna put me first, and if I f up with no strategy, then you guys are gonna throw me in. So, like, that's the level of like, yo, that first of all, that's how you get your TV time, right? Little rebuttal there, but that's also how you make your mark. You're going in regardless, bro. Like you know that. Like, well, maybe you don't. You're being a little naive about it,
Hmm.
and it's just like you're going in regardless. Stand up for yourself. Say no, Brad. You're the leader of this team. That's the way it looks around from where I'm standing. You go
Hmm.
first. Lead us. Give
100%.
us a strategy, and if not, regardless, I'm going in. So at least lead us to a win. Shit. So that's how I would look at it from Brandon's standpoint. I probably would have stood up for myself there and said, "Yo, I'm going in every single time." Like, no, I'm not. Like, you guys go. Somebody else, Tyler, you go first. Done by you go first.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
100%. And I think he's just being too nice. I think you made an excellent point to speak up, right? Because you let them take advantage of you, and even when it doesn't make sense, you just go along with it, right? You don't want to rock the boat. And I think that at least if you would have put anybody else, at least at deliberation, if y'all don't win, you can say, "Hey, I didn't do worse." I can at least blame it on somebody else, right? Like, just I want that. He could have still went in, but like, I want that little, mystery to be able to have some type of argument. Um, so yeah, and I think that's
And
just
and,
crazy.
and I'll tell you this. I don't think Brad wants any more arguments with guys that look like me and you at this point, right?
Oh, 100%,
He's just coming
100%,
off that last challenge or
100%.
whatever. I don't think it's going to be an argument. I think it's going to be like, you know what? All right, I'll do it. And I'm not saying that Brad's like a punk or anything. I'm just saying like
Uh-huh.
you're a little less controversial coming off the challenge that you just had with fighting with Darrell. You're also married at this point. We've
Hmm.
seen Brad be a little chill on this season,
I think
right?
he's a lot more chill. He's
He's a
humble.
lot chill. He's humble, so I don't think you would. I don't think it'd be too much of a confrontation. I think that Brandon would have allowed himself to not have to go first, and I think that is good in itself, considering that you're in every elimination, bro.
Yeah, I totally agree. Totally agree.
So,
I do want to talk on the blue team. We know the
okay,
gray team. I want to talk on the blue team only because I want to touch on the point that I said a little bit earlier, right? The blue team win, team of five, right?
yep,
We got two guys. Guess who volunteers to be the shooter?
you're
Derek.
right.
Derek, right? Did an excellent job, was able to get all the way to the end. Johnny, while he's watching the red team, hey, we got to work together. We got to use each other to push each other all the way through. Just give him an excellent game plan. He was able to execute it. Also, shortest person on the team. So you got to think the shorter you are, the more air you got to put on the hoop. Like, it's naturally, it's going to take a little bit more skill and a little bit more finesse than
Yeah,
a person that's taller. It's just like basketball, right?
right,
So there's another opportunity for someone that's tall like Johnny, someone that's supposed to be the superstar. You need to step up. I think there's multiple opportunities for you to step up, and this could have been an opportunity for him to also just put that flag in the field and let him know, like, I'm that guy. I'm the challenge, because up until this point he hasn't had that all-star performance yet. He
you're right.
hasn't had anything that made it seem like, oh, Johnny, we need to watch out for Johnny. They're not really worried about Johnny. If you think about, like, everybody doesn't like him, but no one's really like worried about him because he hasn't been performing outstanding. And every single opportunity when he has to do this extra work or extra credit, it's always Derek. It's always Derek. And so ultimately Derek ended up shooting four balls into the hoop, which was really, really actually solid. Way better than zero.
Yeah.
So what was your thoughts, like, just watching their team for sure?
No, I mean, like you just said, Bananas continues to have these moments. Once you pointed it out, I'm like, damn, that's really on point. These moments that he can step up in these certain situations, especially from a strategist standpoint, and really deliver the win. Right? Could have delivered the win with Ty if he got Ty to hold on to him in the last challenge. He also could have stepped up here and maybe made more shots than Abram did or than Derek did, rather. Well, I mean, than both of them, right? So you have to
Mm-hmm.
outscore both of them to win. So. I definitely agree with that, and I think it also goes into a little bit something we talked about while rewatching season 21. While Johnny has won, he's won a couple challenges already. I'm thinking of the island. I'm thinking about the ruins as well. But and I think he might have won one more before this, but he's still coming into his own. I don't think that confidence yet is there. Like the confidence is there, it's brash, it's out there, right? But he still defers to Derek, who he's seen execute in clutch moments and be this guy that's really good. I can't wait till we talk about Derek versus Josh and that elimination, that infamous elimination. But he's deferring to someone who he has confidence in because maybe he doesn't have that confidence in himself yet. And it's crazy to say this about Johnny Bananas, but this is season 20 of the challenge, right? This isn't season 30. This isn't season 25 season 28 when at that point he had won three more, right? So
Mm-hmm.
those little things matter, and I think that's why he's deferring. I don't think the confidence is all the way there yet in performing in those clutch moments rather than he is. I think it's there when it comes to strategy and figuring out a way to
Mm-hmm.
win, but to actually deliver in those moments, I think he's still that confidence isn't all the way
So
there.
you think it's confidence and not self-preservation? Because I think it's
I've,
self-preservation.
I think it's yeah confidence because at this point what's the I mean it's you two left, right? It's just like are you really gonna throw Derek under the like I don't think he's throwing Derek under the bus when it's just them two. It's like bro, like let's do what's best. What do you think is best between us two? I think that Johnny's standpoint, I think that we need to push each other. Whatever, that's the best strategy. D, you go take the jump shot. You because you got in four. Like it's so. I think it's a little of that. Like we're working together. This is how we work together well. And as I think Johnny, obviously looking back, maybe will take those moments and sort of try to deliver it home.
Yeah, okay. I think that's a good point. All right, cool beans. And then just to bring us home, my favorite MVP so far this season, Abram,
Yeah,
100%.
you've been saying Abram.
I'm MVP, and he every single challenge he's been stepping up as a leader, and this is what Johnny should have did. Hey, Abram said, I'm gonna be the first. I'm gonna be the person who's shooting." He did amazing getting the rings all the way to the end of the line, but he also in the confession said, "I'm not even good at basketball,
Yeah, he did say that.
but I'm not good at basketball, and I'm still gonna volunteer because I'm a leader."
Yeah,
And he brought it home for his team and sank 5 balls. So
you're
just
right.
shout out to Abram, just shout out to his performance so far. And just if I had an MVP at the midway point of the season, 100%, my money's on Abram.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I mean, especially when we talk about the blue team, a lot of their people are going home. The red team, they are pretty good, but they're not. No one's scared of them. People are scared of Abram. People at this point, people are scared of Abram for a lot of different reasons. But yeah, I think that he is totally the MVP at this point. He's been performing well. He stepped up for his teammates. And he's even volunteered himself to go in. It didn't happen, but he did volunteer himself to go in. So no, that's a very good point. Let's get into. I mean, it's the blue team versus the red team. The blue team, we see who goes into elimination once again. Now I feel what you're saying with bananas, right? Why is Derek going into the elimination here? But once again, it's because we know Derek can perform in these instances. And yeah, I
But I
mean,
think I think Johnny can perform though. I mean, obviously his elimination record is 50-50, and we talked about that. But he's about to go down there against Brandon. Obviously, we don't have the foresight of knowing what type of elimination is going to be. But it's just disappointing that every single corner, Derek's always stepping up. I mean, he's a step up type of person, right? And I get
mhm,
that. But Johnny is letting it get it's overkill. Like I think, especially if this is a partnership, I would love to think, P, if this is me and you, we're gonna alternate who's gonna
right,
take
right.
risk, who's gonna put themselves on the chopping block, who's gonna be the leader in these different daily challenges. You're not just gonna let me show to everything. At least we have a conversation. He just sit back and like, that's really noble of you.
Yeah, and I mean I mean that is him preserving himself. And at this point, the way Johnny can persuade is like, all right, now it is time for us to like take turns. Right, you're going to go to elimination first, and if we get in the next one, I'll go in like that. But it's just like no, there are other moments you could have stepped up in challenges, not just necessarily who's going into elimination. And we eventually, we saw how Wes reacted in season 21, the following season, when it was between him and Kenny going in or Johnny and Tyler, and you saw Wes just like, oh, no, 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 we're not talking, nope, you going like. There was no discussion to be had because we're not going to let you play those games, the games that Johnny Bananas does, and Wes secured himself a spot in that final. So it just it's just like I love. That's why Johnny Bananas and Tyler. I mean, not Tyler. Johnny Bananas and Wes are so good. Just as rivals because little things like that with someone who's more willing to preserve, want to sway, talk it out. Like no, no, actually, this is what we're doing. I'm not even doing. I'm not falling for the bananas, the banana and the tailpipe. But yeah, that definitely just came to mind. But I mean, we see Brandon has to go in again. I think at this point he's lost all faith in his team, and at this point I lost all faith in Brandon. He's going against Derek, and the writing is on the wall. That's when I thought about, oh, we said his record is
That record.
3-4, and he already won three. Yeah, this is it for him. So, I mean, we saw before we get into the actual elimination. On the other side, we see Melinda get voted in, and I didn't
Shocker.
understand. I didn't understand this at all. This is not the way you play the challenge. This is not the way you play this game. You can't do Camilla any favors. She's not a part of your alliance. And even
Hmm.
if those we talked about those top five, you still got your 6, 7, and 8, and you got to look out for them. And with Camilla, you've been throwing her in, you've been saying her name the entire time, and then you're going to switch up and throw someone else in who's in your alliance, and everybody's sort of not even telling Melinda and things like that. And I just thought that was the shadiest thing I've seen from the red team so far this season because you've been pretty consistent. We're throwing in Brandon, we're throwing in Camilla. It is what it is. We the top dogs, y'all are not. But now you're saving the person you've been throwing in Camilla every time to do your friend dirty. This is not the way you play this game, and not the way an alliance works.
Yeah, I think it was a great way to throw the rock and hide your hand. With Melinda being chosen to go in, and like, oh man, it's such a shocker. It wasn't my choice, and we had no idea who voted for who, right? Which what I think one caveat would have been cool if we could see who did the votes, and maybe they didn't know. And then when we did a reunion show, we'd be able to see like, oh, you was backstabbing me the whole time, or you was, I thought that'd be a nice little twist. But I also think that I'm just one of those people like, if you told her you ain't gonna vote her, stand on that. You ain't say he's gonna give her a scapegoat the rest of the final rest of the season,
For
but you
sure.
did say if you get back, I won't vote you at least the next one. And I'm the type of person like if that's what you're gonna say, stand on that. So I can appreciate it. Um, I can't appreciate how Camilla ruined that for herself later
Yeah.
on,
I,
but I can appreciate them like upholding their word. And ultimately, they thought Melinda was expendable. I think if they would thought it was between Camilla and somebody that was a core part of their alliance, and I'll tell you all the time, your alliance is only advantageous from a numbers perspective, and if you can win. If you're not athletic, if you don't add no additional value, you can't go into an elimination and win. Like, how much can I save you, and what can you do for me? If you can't win, if you can't you pull your weight in eliminations and daily challenges and things like that. So I think it's ultimately it's addition by subtraction, in my opinion.
Yeah, but I mean, I get it from a game standpoint, but
Hmm.
like, like maybe Melinda is not going to perform well in the final. Maybe you're looking at Camilla as a little stronger than maybe what you thought she was, as she continues to win elimination, perform well in challenges. But you just don't do this. This is not the, like, literally when I keep saying it's not the way the challenge is played. Why do that and sacrifice her? Like, eventually, if someone keeps getting voted into eliminations, they eventually go home. That's just how it is. It's
Hmm.
demoralizing, right? And you
Hmm.
saved Camilla in this instance, or even the fact that you said it, like you said, they should stand on what they said. But why say it? Why
Yeah,
say it? Why,
hundred
why, why
percent.
switch
Don't
things
even
up
say it.
now?
I'm with you on
Why
that for
why,
sure.
why are you feeling bad about this? No one felt bad about when everybody, when you guys are getting played in your previous seasons. This is what it is. She's a rookie. That's how the game goes. And for them to, Paula, was at the leader of it. She would say, "Hey, next time I'm not going to vote you in." But why? Because she could have went
Yeah,
home
why?
at that point, right? And then what
Sure.
would you have done? You would have voted in Melinda. So that's another shield for Paula. That's what I'm thinking about, right? It's two people. Wow, trade just got completed in my fantasy football league. I gotta check it out. But you got two people in front of you that's just shielding for you right now, Paula. You got Camilla and Melinda both easily, and now you're saying you're going to save Camilla. I just didn't understand that. That's not the way things work for me, but it is what it is.
I mean, they also don't know who's going in on the other end at the time of the vote. Because I would think that knowing that Emily was going to be down there, and if you really wanted to get rid of Camilla, that would have been a great opportunity. Or you would know whoever you sent down there was a good chance they would lost. But Emily's a rookie at this point. We don't know how good she is. But I also think like that could have been a part of her ploy just to keep Camilla engaged, right?
Yeah.
Being able to go in there, we've seen so many people that continue to go in and then they're like, you know what? What's the point of me even trying hard? Maybe I've seen Anissa, right? Say, I'm gonna save my energy for elimination because I'm going in regardless, right?
Right. Yeah.
And I'm sure Brandon would have loved to get assurance like, hey, if you won, we're gonna spare you for one elimination. Even seen TJ say, "Hey, you're sending your best player in," and hey, he was flattering them a little bit. But it was just interesting that obviously, like you make an excellent point. This in is customary that they don't give you any breaks. Once they decide that I'm gonna throw you in multiple times,
Yeah.
why burn another bridge? Why upset someone else when I can continue with the status quo and no one will care? So I think you make an excellent point.
Yeah, and we did see in that vote that Brad did get a vote, and it was shocking. And we found out eventually Camilla was the one that gave him that vote, which is fine. But what is not fine is, why did she go and tell them? Like I said, at the end of episode 5, she was in a really good point with them, right? They're starting to believe in her a little bit. Maybe we would like her a little bit more than Melinda in the final. If we got to be, a little effed up here, we will. But now you're just going to say that, hey, I'm the one that voted for you, and Brad is going to be pissed off about it, and his wife, both of the people that you selected to be on your team, by the way. It's just, why would she say that?
It was insane. I think it was one of the worst moves I've seen in challenge history. Honestly, there's literally no advantage. There's no value in letting Brad know you voted for him, and then letting Brad know you voted for him, and you're not in a position of power or you have any leverage at all. Right? I think she's in a position where you're taking a. You know how you always say you don't want to take a shot at the crown and miss. Like right now, Brad's the crown because he's operating as two. He has
Yeah.
him and his wife. You guys have been doing really well. You know where the alliances are lying. There's literally no value in letting him know that you try to get him sent into elimination. And I don't think she knows, but Brad's really not that reasonable. He seems reasonable in this season, but he's really a volatile person to
Yeah.
the point where he's not even able to see, like, oh, I really, really appreciate you telling me. And I probably wouldn't have seen it. He's like, you know what? Hey, you know what? Let's keep sending her back in. I don't even know why we even went to back for it. And I understand his perspective. And I also see Tori's perspective because she got to stand up for her man. Like, I understand that. And I also, Johnny was hilarious. He was like, yeah, I don't like how she's walking around like on this high horse because I don't mess with her. I understand
Right.
when I go at his wife. I thought that was hilarious. But I'm not mad how Brad reacted. I'm not mad how Tori reacted because I think they both should have reacted the same way. They should have, right?
Yeah.
There, and I think Laura made an excellent point. Like, why would you do that? The one thing you won't do is do that. And I think that's the worst move than Corey's move that we've seen in the most recent season we watched in Dirty 30 when him starting the season just taking shots at the big dogs. I think you just telling the person who's the head shot, I just try to get you out of here. It's no value. She has no alliance. She has no one going to bat for her. Just bad play all the way around.
Bad play, awful play. I think drinks were definitely involved. She said she told him this at the bar, and we see her
Hmm.
at the bar eventually smash a glass because she's so upset that she feel that Brad and Tori are going at her now, and it's just like the drinks play a big point at this point in the challenge, and Camilla, you gotta stay locked in at this point, and I
Yeah.
think she just when you cannot say that it's a secret vote for a reason. Keep it to yourself. Tell it to your pillow, muffle it in your pillow if you got to get it out vocally. But that was a very bad decision, and it's going to lead to her demise. So
Yeah.
hated to see that for Camilla.
And she's in a bad space. You can't, they don't want you to fraternize in with the other teams at all, right?
Yeah,
Especially Johnny. And then nobody on your teams likes you. So now like, it's just a bad space to be in at this portion of the game.
yeah, but it's Camilla. So oh well.
Yeah,
Let's get into
yeah, she'll
the
be all right.
let's get into the
100%.
actual eliminations. This one is Derek versus Brandon. Scrappy Derek. I mean, we knew the writing was on the wall for this one, right?
No, we didn't. I was rooting for the black man. You're crazy. I thought Brandon might have had a chance, and then Derek just reminded me who he was. That's all. That's the only difference. And
Oh, right, I got you.
to be honest with you, it hurt watching because it was 5-0. It's
Yeah.
5-0. And I
Mm-hmm.
love how Derek, and I would say whenever there's like those one-on-one eliminations, Derek does have excellent strategies every single time. He's like, I'm gonna let him tire him out, and then I'm just gonna shake him. Like,
Yeah.
and we see like he never wasting energy. I thought he had an excellent strategy going into that elimination. And it worked really, really well. And you can tell that Brandon, he can never get a hold. And I would love to talk to Brandon, like, hey, what was your thought process going in? What was your strategy? Because he had 5 different chances to try different things, and man, it was rough for you, bro. Rough for you.
Yeah, I think Brandon was demoralized at this point, though. I think you have to put that in perspective, right? This is another elimination. He thought he was safe, and they voted him in yet again. So you
Mhm.
have to put that in perspective. After a while, people get burnout of keep going into elimination. You have no hope. And then another aspect is, so you talked about Derek had to remind you, but when I put things in perspective of this season, it's coming off the ruins, which Derek just won. So I don't look at it as like the
Gotcha.
totality. I look at it as like, yo, Derek is still really, really good. And I had no doubt about it. Like, I didn't, even without knowing the records of these two, it's like, oh, it's Derek and it's Brandon. Brandon is undefeated against the gay men's, right? Like, he beat Derek, and who else did he beat? What was that second one?
Derek was, and then the second one was I don't remember the guy name. He wasn't even
Yeah,
on the show that long.
yeah. I mean, that's fair. And then he beat Ty, which
All right, and I'm gonna give him
it,
credit. Ty, Ty's crazy, and so now, all right. So now, in retrospect, now we're looking at all of his wins. There's an asterisk by all three.
No, listen. Well, I mean, I don't think there's an ashes by. I just feel like he was bigger and stronger than Derek, and the second guy, he went into elimination as well. But I mean, the third one is definitely an asterisk. But I mean, I've seen people win off some BS. Whatever though. I mean, it's
I'm
just like
interested to see what the next L's are. The next
yeah.
three names.
There
That's
we
going to
go. I think
solidify for me.
that's yeah. I mean, for
That's going to be
sure.
interesting.
But I had no doubt about Derek from this standpoint. I wonder. So Derek does get the win. And before we finish off, I want to talk about the women. I wonder what you thought about Emily. This is your girl, Emily, going into elimination
Oh,
versus your other girl,
Katie, you're hilarious. So I'm a huge Emily fan, right? I'm a huge
right?
Emily fan. This definitely been her rookie season. This is her first time in elimination, so it's definitely a treat to watch. But she also like volunteered to go in, right? She was like,
Mm-hmm.
"Hey, I appreciate you guys not sending the rookies in first because I know y'all normally do." So I volunteered, and she went down there. And she was. When I say she put in some work, sometimes when the girls are going, sometimes they want to play by the rules or don't want to get too aggressive.
Yeah,
She had her in a
Melinda.
headlock. She just doing anything. They had running Melinda face into the ground, into the dirt. Just playing to win, right? Not
Yeah,
playing dirty, but playing to win. And I think like if you're going to set the tone for your very first elimination, don't leave no stone unturned, right? And I really really love the effort that she put in there. And she also dog walked her opponent. And Melinda went lost 0-5 as well.
yeah. So that was and we, I mean, very funny. But then we see the red team lose two more people. So as we get into the end of this episode, I mean, I know Chat as well. So Chat, we
That's a
talked
rough
about,
day. That's
but
three in
now,
a
yeah,
day.
they're down to six, which the gray team is also at six, and the blue team remains at five. So now we have a more equal game. And if you throw Camilla back in, maybe you still have, another one. So that's why I did not like that decision about them. But the red team. But that was another two episodes. Can we rewatch podcast? Two
It's
episodes
heating
of the
up.
challenge. Season 20, episodes 5 and 6. We are almost there, Scrim. Two more of these, and we'll have this season in the bag. But we're recording this on July 29th, and we officially launch tomorrow. The Can We Rewatch podcast,
Absolutely. It's
July
going
30th.
down.
Literally in 19 minutes, the first podcast comes out. So we'll be ready for that. And I gotta get some clips ready because I effed up and deleted something earlier I wasn't supposed to. But no worries, I got it. iMovie. But so man, shout out to that. We are complete with another
Going live.
episode. See you. Thank you guys for listening and tuning in. And we are officially live. So I mean, well, when you see this episode, we'll
We
definitely be
live.
officially live. So shout out to you, Scrim. Another two in the book. And yeah, man, we got to go. We got to start thinking about next season.